All right, let's jump right in. We're talking about something called Project Portfolio Management, or PPM for short. A ton of companies see it as this magic key to success, but honestly, very few get it right. So today, we're going to break down a real roadmap to make it work, to help you transform your organization from a bunch of competing departments into a lean, mean, value-delivering machine. It really all starts with this one big question. You come up with a brilliant strategy, everyone in the room is nodding, they're all excited, but then, somewhere between the big idea and the actual work, it just fizzles out. It dies on the vine. Sound familiar? Well, that gap, that's exactly the problem PPM is built to solve. I want you to really think about this definition for a second. PPM isn't just another process or a new piece of software. No. Think of it as the entire operating system for your business. It's the code running in the background, making sure that all your different projects and initiatives are actually working together to hit your biggest goals. So, what's this operating system really supposed to do for you? What's the big promise here? Let's talk about what a well-run PPM setup can actually deliver. Here it is, plain and simple. At the end of the day, the goal is to squeeze every last drop of value out of every dollar you spend, every person on your team, and every piece of equipment you own. It's all about making smarter, more coordinated bets to boost your returns and, just as importantly, keep those pesky risks under control. But if it's that simple, why is it so ridiculously hard to pull off? Well, that brings us to the real battlefield. The core conflict that trips up pretty much every company that tries this. And here is the absolute key takeaway. The biggest hurdle you're going to face has nothing to do with buying fancy software or designing the perfect flowchart. The real enemy is your own company culture. It's that deep, stubborn resistance to change, that but we've always done it this way mentality that just kills progress. And this chart really says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the old way of doing things. Functional silos, marketing, sales, IT, each one is its own little kingdom, focused on its own goals, hoarding its own people. And on the other side, you have the new way, dynamic teams pulled from across the company, all laser-focused on one thing and one thing only, delivering value. So let's be clear. This is not a surface-level fix. We're not just rearranging the furniture here. We are talking about fundamentally rewriting the DNA of the organization. It is a massive shift in how power works, who's responsible for what, and even how people think about their jobs. Okay, so how on earth do you perform that kind of open-heart surgery on your company without, everything falling apart? The answer is you do it carefully with a phased, manageable roadmap. Let's walk through how it works. The key is you don't try to do a big bang rollout. That's a recipe for disaster. Instead, you start small. In phase 1, you pick just a handful of projects for a pilot program. The goal is simple. Prove the concept works and get some quick wins on the board. Then, in phase 2, you use that success to build momentum, creating a few more portfolios. And only then, in the final phase, do you bring it all together under one big, enterprise-level roof for total strategic alignment. Now, once you have that basic foundation in place, a really mature PPM system can get even more powerful and sophisticated. Let's look at a couple of specialized models that can solve some really specific and really common problems. First up, this is a really cool idea, a center of excellence just for your resources. Think about it. You actually treat your shared people, your experts, your engineers, and your equipment as their own portfolio. And the person in charge, their mission isn't to hoard those resources. Their job is to serve their customers, the other portfolio directors, as efficiently as possible. It completely flips the script on resource management. And then there's this one, which is just brilliant. A dedicated portfolio just for projects that are on fire. This team is basically your company's special forces. They're the experts in crisis management, negotiation, and restructuring who parachute in to rescue projects that are way behind schedule or bleeding cash. They're the turnaround artists. So you can have all these phases and cool specialized models, but none of it, and I mean none of it, will work without one final, absolutely critical piece. This is the engine that makes the whole thing run. It's governance. And good governance really comes down to 3 non-negotiable pillars. First, who's in charge? You need a smart mix. Bring in directors from the outside who aren't afraid to shake things up, but promote project managers from the inside who actually know the culture. Second, how you measure success. Everything has to be tied to real value, like cash flow, and you have to be brutally honest about what's not working. And third, you need a senior level committee, a council of elders, if you will, to make the tough calls and resolve conflict. This quote just hits the nail on the head. If you walk away with just one thing from all this, let it be this right here. Implementing PPM is not an IT project you can solve with a purchase order. It is a deep, fundamental transformation of your entire business. It's a culture change. So let me leave you with a final question to think about. I want you to take a hard, honest look at your own organization. Look at how decisions get made, how money gets spent. When push comes to shove, is your company built to protect the little kingdoms of individual departments, or is it truly built to deliver value? Because the answer to that question tells you everything you need to know.